Good afternoon. Welcome to our optional session where I will go over 3.03 quiz equations. How to solve multi-step equations. Are you guys ready? Ready here means either you are going to be in your pod or you're going to also open up the quiz and work it out along with us. Or you will have paper and pen and you will work it out with us. Okay, let's get started. Um, Elizabeth, welcome. Well, question one. Question one on the quiz looks something like this. Um, this is the first variety of question one. It is kind of one of the most simplest question on the quiz. And let's go ahead and solve. Whenever we have equations that have variables on both sides, we want to make sure we want to bring variables to one side. Dallas, I'm so proud of you. Whenever we have variables on both sides, we want to try to get the variables on one side. And to make your work easy, it is always gonna be more handy to move the smaller one to the other side. Notice there's 8x and there's 4x. 4x is the smaller one, and it is going to be more handy for me to move 4x to the other side. I will subtract 4x from each side. I subtract 4x from each side. And let's see how the equation looks like after doing that. 8x minus 4x leaves you with 4x. 4x minus 4x, the terms disappear. Here is the link, Safa. And then what is going to be on the right side? Andromeda, very good. Negative 32. Don't forget the negative sign. A negative 32 is on the right side. Final step, get x by itself, divide both sides by 4. It is 4x right now. You want to get to 1x. To get to 1x, you divide both sides by 4. 4x equals negative 32. So in order to get to 1x, or in order to get to just x itself, you want to divide both sides by 4. Negative 32 divided by 4 is going to be negative 8. That is going to be your answer. Are there any questions? Was anybody confused? Let us know before we move on. No confusion? Okay, perfect. The second variety of question 1 is another simple question that looks like this. And let's go ahead and solve this one. I have 9x and I have 3x. I want to move the variables to one side. I will move the smaller one over. You can move any one you want, but just moving the smaller one makes the work much easier. I subtract 3x. Rania, right, not 3, but 3x from each side. Right? And let's see how it looks like. And that gives us 9x minus 3x gives us 6x. 3x and a minus 3x cancels each other off. It's a 0. You're left with a negative 36. Remember, the goal is not to get 6x. The goal is to get x. The goal is to get x by itself. In order to do that, I want to get rid of the 6. I will divide both sides by 6. Excellent, Andromeda. Excellent. So now the question is negative 36 divided by 6. And the answer is negative 6. Let's see. Aiden, I'm going to go ahead and answer you in the chat. There you go. Last variety of question 1. The third variety of question 1 looks like this. 7x equals 2x minus 35. You want to get variables on one side. I personally recommend you guys to move the smaller one. It's just going to be a little bit more handy to do that. So let's subtract 2x from both sides so that we can get rid of the 2x on the right side. And let's see the impact of subtracting 2x from both sides. 7x minus 2x gives us 5x. And 2x, take away another 2x. Terms disappear, become 0. And you have a negative 35 on your right side. Remember, the goal is not to get an answer for 5x. Absolutely, Noah. The goal is not to get an answer for 5x. The goal is to get an answer for x. We want to divide both sides by 5. Very good, Andromeda. We want to divide both sides by 5. That will generate an answer for x. Negative 35 divide by 5. Negative 35 divide by 5 will give us negative 7. And that's how you answer question 1. Safa, Andromeda, excellent. Joycelyn, Rania, Rajane, Safa. Okay. Now is question 2. Vida, very good. Now question 2, you will notice they will start to add a little complexity. But it is going to be very easy to handle that. And I will teach you one little strategy that is going to be really handy anytime you see that complexity. Oh, question 2 is not complex either, but that's okay. Maybe the next question is going to be having that denominator part. But question 2 is as simple. Step 1, as always, want to move the variables to one side and try to move the smaller variable over. The smaller variable is 2x. I want to get rid of the 2x. So I subtract 2x from each side. And make sure you subtract under like terms. Like terms means I'm going to subtract 2x from the 4x. These are called like terms. And let's see what is the impact of subtracting 2x. Vida says 4x minus 2x gives you 2x. We also have plus 5. Now on the right side, a 2x minus a 2x, we got rid of these terms, 0. But we still have a negative 3. This is called a two-step equation at this time. It is called a two-step equation at this time. And whenever we want to solve a two-step equation, step 1, get rid of the fixed value, get rid of the constant. Okay, in order to solve the two-step, we want to get rid of the constant. The constant says add 5. I will do the reverse of adding. I do subtract 5. And in this way, I can undo the plus 5. I will also do a minus 5 on the other side. Let's see what was the impact of subtracting 5 on both sides. I have the 2x. Nothing happened to the 2x. Well, the plus 5 and the minus 5 canceled each other out. Good. And what happened to the right side? Negative 3 minus 5. If you think you are not strong at these, use your Desmus calculator. If you think you're not going to be strong at this, you use your calculator to generate answers. Notice negative 3 minus 5 is supposed to give you a negative 8. So far, the answer is in terms of 2x. We don't want 2x, we want the value of x. We don't want 2x, but we want the value of x. Guess what? We got to divide both sides by 2, right? You're going to divide both sides by 2, and it will generate you the answer for x itself, right? You are doing -8. Rita, -8 divided by 2. How will that modify your answer? Andromeda, yes. Joycelyn, correct. Safa heading in the right direction. Rajani heading in the right direction. Vida, can I say it's going to be -4? -8 divided by 2. -4. Right? Okay. Let's go ahead, look at the second variety for question 2. This is how a very typical STAR test question looks like. Okay, this is how very typical STAR test questions look like that I've seen. This is also going to be the new topic that we start next week onwards. So it's going to be a nice, good practice to look at it now. Notice that there are variables on both sides, 5x and there's a 2x. I would recommend you to move the smaller or get rid of the smaller variable. How to get rid of it? Just subtract 2x on both sides. And subtract it from like terms. Please keep that in mind. You want to subtract it from the like terms. That is the key. After subtracting 2x from both sides, let's see how the equation will be modified. 5x, take away the 2x, gives you 3x. Very good, Vida. And then there's also a plus 3. Notice the 3x and the 3 are called unlike terms. They are different families. Do not ever try to add or subtract them. The right side, the 2x and the minus 2x, gets removed, becomes a 0, cancels out, Vida. And you are still left with a -6. Okay, now 3x plus 3 equals -6 is your 7th grade two-step equation. It's a 7th grade concept. It is a two-step equation. Remember to get rid of this constant value, the fixed value, by reversing the operation. The operation is a plus 3. Reverse it by subtracting 3 and subtracting 3 on both sides. So we can keep that balance in a balance. Let's see what is that impact. Joycelyn, very good, very good. So we have here 3x. That doesn't have anything going on with it. We have a plus 3 and a minus 3. Vida says cancel those out. Absolutely right. And on the right side, a -6 minus 3. Make sure you use the Desmos calculator to do precise calculations. It's going to give you a -9. Right now, your equation says 3x is -9. The goal here is to find the value of x. That's what the goal is. That means we want to get rid of the 3. We're going to divide both sides by 3. So 3x divided by 3 gives you x. -9 divided by 3 gives you -3. Absolutely correct. Vida, Safa, absolutely correct. This was the second variety. Let's go ahead and move on to the third variety of question 2. Here is the third variety of question 2. Remember, these are the very common type of questions that you might see on assessments also. So it's going to be a really good practice. 6x plus 4 equals 4x minus 2. I see that there are variables on both sides, and we can just get rid of the 4x from each side because it is that smaller variable we can get rid of. So let's do that. Subtract 4x. reverse it, undo it by subtracting, and make sure to do that on both sides. The impact of subtracting 4x is 6x minus 4x, 2x. Notice I am working with some like terms. And then there's also a plus 4. Yes, Vida, you're right. A positive 4x minus 4x cancel each other out. You're left with a negative 2. This is our old friend from 7th grade now. It is that two-step equation you all learned before coming to this 8th grade class. And you learn you want to get rid of the constant value first. The constant value is the one that doesn't have x. And you want to reverse operation. Reversing of a plus 4 is going to be a minus 4. Make sure to do that minus 4 on each side. Yes, Vida. And let's see. 2x and a plus 4 minus 4 cancels each other out, will equal negative 2 minus 4. Negative 2 minus 4 gives you guys negative 6. Still, it is in terms of 2x. We want it to be in terms of only x. That means we want to divide each side by 2. So negative 6 divided by 2. How much do you guys get? Negative 6 divided by 2. Joycelyn and Andromeda heading in the right direction. We get negative 3. Negative 6 divided by 2. Negative 3. These are the first two questions. If you answered this much, you're already at 40% for the test, for that quiz. Variety 3. Sheehan, remember this session is also recorded. In case you cannot write really fast on the paper at this time, we can always go back to the recording also. And then we can slow it down for ourselves. We can pause. Question 3, variety 1. Question 3, variety 1. And here it is. These are those complex ones that I was talking about. We can definitely make these questions a little easy for ourselves. Anytime, that's what I'm going to talk about, Andromeda. We will make it easy. Anytime you see a fraction bar, you are thinking about division, right? There's some division happening. To undo a division, we got to multiply, right? And multiply by 2 because it's dividing by 2. I'm going to undo it by multiplying by 2. Let's see how that happens. I will multiply this entire thing by 2. But I will also multiply this entire thing by 2. Okay. Look carefully what is going to happen. This multiplying by 2 and dividing by 2 cancels each other out and becomes 1s. So now, let me just draw a line and split it into 2 parts. Now what happens, when I got rid of the denominator of 2, I'm left with 6 plus 8x. Can you guys tell me what is going to go on the right side? It's going to be 10x, Andromeda. Will you agree to 10x or will you not agree to 10x? You will agree, Navida, yes? It's going to be 10x. Yes? Because I multiplied the equation by 2 to get rid of the denominator of 2. Got it? And now it is just like our old friend And we have seen these in question 1. I'm going to get rid of the smaller variable by doing reverse operation. I will subtract 8x from each side. And we will try to check what is the impact of subtracting 8x from each side. Okay. We bring down the 6. Nothing happened to the 6. A plus 8x minus 8x cancels out. So basically, there's nothing by 6 anymore. 10x minus 8x. Vida, you're right. It's 2x. Now, some people are okay with 6 equals 2x. There are some other people who will not be okay with that. If you are the one who will not be okay, you can just switch the sides and say, well, 2x equals 6. Both things mean the same. Andromeda, you're right. If 6 equals 2x, 2x also equals 6. But the value you want is for x. That means we want to divide both sides by 2. You want to get rid of this 2. So you divide both sides by 2. And 6 divided by 2 is going to be the value of x, and it is going to be 3. Got it? Let's try the next one out. Let's try the next one out and see if that makes sense. Robert, welcome, welcome. And here is this next one. Okay. So here we have a denominator of 3. We have a denominator of 3, right? If you want, you can just put a denominator of 3 also like that. What am I going to multiply to each side this time? I will multiply by 3 on each side because I want to get rid of this denominator. I want to get rid of this 3 denominator. I will multiply each side by 3. I will multiply each side by 3. When I multiply each side by 3, the denominator of 3 gets cancelled off with multiplying by 3. A denominator of 3 means divide by 3. And here it is times by 3. A multiplying by 3 and a dividing by 3 are operations that cancel each other out. Oops, not a really good line. So now let's see what we have. We have here 1m. We just have 1m because the denominator went away. Everybody's happy with 1m? You guys know in algebra we don't do 1m, but we can just say m. Right? 1m is also m. And if you want to keep the 1, if you like it, you can keep it. No concerns. Let's look at this side. Can you guys tell me what the right side will look like after multiplying by 3? Andromeda, you're partially right, dear. 3 times 12, 36. Then there's minus sign. M means 1m. M means there's 1m. How much is 1 times 3? It's 3. It's 3m. This is going to be 3m. Okay. Then it's going to be minus 3. Now tell me, I want to move the smaller variable. I want to move the smaller variable. Which one should I move? Should I move 1m or should I move the negative 3. Negative 3. It is negative. It is small. I'm going to move the negative 3 because that's the small one. Negative is always small. This is how you read. The negative is with the 3m. 36 is positive. Negative 3m. That's what's going to be moved. How? By adding 3m to each side. By adding 3m to each side. Let's see what happens after adding 3m to each side. 1m and 3m is 4m. That equals, there's a number 36, and that's all we have. We got rid of negative 3m and a positive 3m. Got it? You guys know we don't need 4m. We just needed m. We can get m by itself when we divide both sides by 4. Vida, absolutely right. You're right. 36 divided by 4 gives you the value of m to be 9. Andromeda, absolutely. Andromeda, now we solved the puzzle. You remember that, right? How we got rid of the denominator so easy. Multiply the entire equation by the denominator and just get rid of it. You know how in higher order math, they make the questions harder? They give a denominator on this side. They'll give a different denominator on the other side. So you have to think. So this is how they can make the questions a little bit harder when you're going to be going higher up. No, you won't, Andromeda. You won't. Practice makes people better, right? I know you practiced a lot. We practiced a lot. Here we are. You won't fail. Practice makes people stronger and better. And keep challenging yourself. We have question 4, Vida. We do have question 4. This is still question 3, third variety. There are people who will see this question on the test, Vida. We got to help them out, right? Yeah. Okay. Guys, you think about it. What are you going to multiply both sides by? What do we want to multiply both sides by? By 4? Absolutely. Because we are dividing by 4, we want to get rid of this part. This is still question 3, variety 3. We're going to multiply both sides by 4. So when you multiply both sides by 4, what happens to your left side? The dividing by 4, multiplying by 4 just cancels the operation, leaving you with the inside terms 3y plus 10. And that equals how much? Type in the chat. 3y plus 10 will equal how much? Joycelyn, you're right. Andromeda, you're right. Absolutely, it is going to leave us with 8y. We want to move the smaller variable over. And notice the smaller one is 3y. Subtract 3y from each side. Subtract 3y from each side. Hurry. You will wait patiently. You know I'm going to help everybody out, but with some patience. So 3y, take away 3y, cancels out. You have a 10 equals 5y. We don't want 5y. We want just y. We want just y by itself. We just wanted y by itself. Guess what? We want to divide both sides by 5. Absolutely, Andromeda, you're right. We're going to divide by 5. So that's how 5y becomes y. Divide this side by 5. 10 divided by 5 will give you a value that is 2. So y is going to equal to 2. Okay. We'll move on to question 4. I know you guys have been waiting anxiously to go to the next question. And here is question 4. Question 4, variety 1. Here is question 4, variety 1. And now we look at word problems. Notice the word problems are not going to be very hard. Trust me, the word problems are not going to be very hard. Caitlin started with 18 stuffed animals. Starting value, 18. Starting value is a constant number, does not have a variable. So Caitlin started with 18. That's where we started. Now see what is happening each. And gave away X stuffed animals. Well, they just even told you what is X. X is what's given away. Given away means taking away, means subtracting. That makes sense so far? We start with 18, we give away X. We do 18 minus X. Or Joycelyn says 18 minus 1X. Okay? Ali started with 30. Ali started with 30 stuffed animals. We start with 30. Let's see. That's a constant value. Ali starts with 30 stuffed animals. And gave away 3 times as many stuffed animals as Caitlin. If you give away 3 times as many as Caitlin, you're giving away 3 times X because Caitlin gave away X. So 3 times of that, I know, Elizabeth, it's optional and we are not forced to stay. So basically, Ali gave away 3X because Ali gives away 3 times. How many stuffed animals did Caitlin go away, given that they had the same number of stuffed animals left? Now, if we have the same number left, we can just put equal sign. And we came up with the equation to solve. Got it? As always, we want to try to get rid of the smaller one. If you have -1 and you have -3, this is going to be the smaller one. Right? If you have a -1 and you have a -3, -3 is the smaller one. You might want to plan to undo that by adding 3x to each side. Add 3x to each side. And let's see how that looks like. And remember to add under like terms. So here, basically, this is 1. In your calculator, if you want to figure it out, you will do -1 plus 3, right? But before that, I have a 18. Nothing happened to the 18. But for the x, if you want to use your calculator, you can just do -1 plus 3. You will notice it is going to be a plus 2x equals 30. And a -3x and a plus 3x you got rid of. This becomes your 7th grade math question, 2-step equations. Try to get rid of the constant first. How? Subtract it. Reverse it. Subtract it. Take away 18 from each side. Subtract 18 from each side. And let's see how our numbers look like. 18 take away 18 gets canceled off. You have your 2x equals 12. You want the value of x? You can just divide both sides by 2. Right? 2x divided by 2 gives you x by itself. 12 divided by 2 gives you 6. So if you want to answer the question, how many stuffed animals did Caitlin give away? Caitlin gave away 6. How many did Ali give away? That's 3 times 6, 18. But we want just the value of x, and that is going to be 6. Caitlin gave away 6. Caitlin started with 18, gave away 6. Okay, now next problems are supposed to go a little bit more faster because now we have set the rhythm for how we set up the questions. All the questions look very similar when I looked at them. See, Austin started with 26 video games. That is where we started. It is the constant value. We start with 26. And look at the x value. Let me see, Vida, if I can help you. Okay, Vida. And sold X. If you're selling something, absolutely, it will reduce the amount of games that you have. You start with 26, you sold 6. Definitely, we are looking at same again. Same means making it equal. Look at what Caleb did. Caleb started with 40. Caleb started with 40 games. What did he sell? He sold 3 times as many games as Austin. So 3 times as Austin is 3x. You got your equation to solve. Right? Just like the previous one, the steps seem very similar. You want to move the smaller to the other side by adding 3x to each side. Just that, moving the smaller one makes the question a little bit more easier to solve. That's why I do recommend that. And everybody go ahead and solve and see how your answers look like. Aiden, let me help you. This is what the answer for this one, Aiden. Okay, let's see. No problem. We got rid of this part. We have here a 40. We have 26. We have -1 plus 3. If you are confused, use your calculators and you will generate 2x. Minus 1 plus 3 is going to be 2x. Remember, as per 7th grade rules, when we solve, we want to get rid of the constant first. To undo the 26, we subtract 26 on both sides. Let's subtract 26 on both sides. Right? Am I going too fast or are we fine? Andromeda is going to be a whole answer, I believe. Let's see. Okay, this is going to be 2x. I got 14 on this side. Right? I got 14. In order to get x by itself, you should divide both sides by 2. Divide both sides by 2 and you should get a 7. Joycelyn also got a 7. X is supposed to be 7. Let me see, Andromeda. You said 1 plus 3x? Remember, there's a 26. There's 26. 26 plus 2x is going to be 40. Right, Andromeda? Okay. Well, in this case, Austin sold 7 video games. Austin sold 7 video games. Third variety of question 4. Third variety of question 4 is right here. Let's see if we can create a little equation out of it. So here, Beatrice starts with 16 pencils. Starting value is your constant value. And I'm just going to write down starting values. Ella starts with 36. Yes, Elizabeth, you're right. Ella started with 36. Let's see then what happens. Probably they're giving away. Yes, they're giving away. Beatzel gave away x. So 16 minus x. Ella started with 36, gave away 3 times as many as Beatzel. beat Riz. So absolutely Noah. So minus 3x. We want to find how many pencils did Beatrice give away. Given that they had the same pencils left, we can put an equal sign and we can solve just the way we were solving. Notice they've not switched the numbers a lot and they've made the question really easy for us. Move the smaller one over by adding 3x to each side and adding 3x to each side. So this got rid of, you have 36. And here is negative x plus 3x, 2x, and you also have the 16. Make sure that you get rid of the constant first. Constant is the 16. Take away constant from each side. And Andromeda, you have done it so fast. I agree to you. That leaves you with 2x because that cancels equals 20. 2x equals 20. Divide each side by 2. And your x equals 10. And you're trying to catch up. I know Nearpod is not so easy if you have not been practicing writing on, but you will get better. This is how we did this one. Let's move on to question 5. Question 5 is just like question 4, not at all harder than that. Question 5 is very similar, and here it is how we do it. So there's these are another way they like to assess you. This is really important that you understand how they want to ask you questions like these. You will see those kind of ones. Museum A charges entrance fee of 8 and $2.25 per souvenir. Museum B charges $6 of entrance fee and $2.75 per souvenir. Notice entrance is going to be constant. Per souvenir is that variable amount. So that means this is how the equations look like. For Museum A, 225 is the variable amount, 225x. For Museum B, 275 is the variable amount. If you also add an entrance fee, and adding actually means adding, for Museum A is adding an 8, for Museum B is adding 6. How many souvenir maps must be purchased in order for the total at A and B to be same? Means put an equal sign. Remember, to make the questions easy, we decided we will always be subtracting the smaller number from each side. This is the smaller one. Let's subtract 2.25x from each side and see how the equation will look like. Let's see. And we got rid of 2.25x. Here we're going to be having 8 equals, subtract these values, use a calculator, you'll probably get 50 cents. You get just 50 cents or 50x, 0.50x plus 6. We want to get rid of this constant of 6 first. We reverse the plus 6 by subtracting 6 on both sides. And let's see the impact of subtracting 6. You get 2 equals 0.5x. You get 2 equals 0.5x or 0.50x, right? In order to get x by itself, you should divide both sides by 0.50. Tell me how much is your answer. Use your calculator. 2 divide by. This is how the fraction in the calculator should look like. 2 divide by 0.5 is going to be 4. Right? It's going to be 4 equals x. So x equals 4. 4 souvenirs, right, were sold so that the total cost for each is same. Let's try the next one out. I'm going to color code so that it will make things easier for you. Remember, we can start with an equal sign for theta P and theta Q. Notice the variable is the one that has the per. Variable is the one with the per. Huria, follow the chat. So 4.55 per small popcorn. 4.55. That's what I told you, Huria. Right? That's what I answered you in the chat. 4.55 per popcorn is 4.55x for theta P. The popcorn for theta Q is 475 per popcorn. I can say 4.75x. You will know where x goes because of the word per. The word per will tell you where the variable x goes. Okay. The other one is going to be the starting constant value. In this case, for theta P, you got to pay one-time admission of $10 on top of the popcorn. If you are in theta Q, you are paying $8 of admission on top of popcorn. And you want to see how many small popcorns must be ordered for the total to be equal, to be same. So there's an equal sign. Let's go ahead and solve this one. I am definitely going to try to move the smaller variable to the other side. So 455 is that smaller one. I'll subtract 455 from each side. 455x. And then minus 455x. And let's see what is the impact of that on the equation. Notice this gets cancelled off. You're left with a 10 equals 0.20x or 0.2x or 0.20x plus 8. When you have an equation that looks like this, it's important you get rid of the 8 first. 8 is that constant we might want to get rid of first so that we can get the value of x. How to reverse that? By subtracting 8 on each side. And this is how it will look like. We got rid of the 8's. We have your 10 minus 8 is 2. That equals 0.2x. In order to get x by itself, you should divide both sides by 0.2 or 0.20. Generate your answer. What did you guys get? I got an answer that is 10. 2 divided by 0.2 is an answer that is 10. That is the value of x. That means they need to sell 10 of the small popcorns, theta P and theta Q, so that the cost is going to be equal. Jocelyn, very good, very good. There's quite a little bit of work, but absolutely we got to follow the steps we got to follow so that we are very precise about our calculations and we generate some very precise answers. Final question of question 5 is going to be right here. Okay. Concert R charges an admission fee of $10. Admission fee is a constant amount. It is a one-time amount. You got to pay one time. Concert S charges admission fee of 13. Again, that's that one-time amount Concert S is charging. Let's look at the variable charges for each of the concert. The variable amount is the souvenir amount. 6.25 for concert R and 5.75. I think it's not going to be no space here. 5.75. Absolutely, Andromeda. I'm here to help. And please follow my chat, Andromeda. And it is going to be 5.75. No problem. 5.75 for concert S. And we want to see how many souvenirs must be purchased, so the cost is going to be the same. That is going to be equal. Let's subtract the smaller variable from each side. That is 5.75 x from each side. Make sure you're subtracting from like terms. It is important not to make the error. Okay, let's see. This term cancels out and we're left with a 13. 625 and subtract 575 probably gives you 0.50 x, 0.50 x, or 0.5 x plus 10 equals 13. When you're solving equations that look like these, make sure you want to get rid of this constant part first by reverse operations. Subtract 10 on both sides. And let's see the impact of subtracting 10 on both sides. We got rid of plus 10 and minus 10. We're going to have 0.5x equals 3. You want to get x by itself, you divide both sides by 0.5. And notice the answer is going to be how many 0.5s go into 3? There are 6 of them. So we can say that concert R and concert S will have to be selling 6 souvenirs so that the total cost is going to be same for both. That marks the end of quiz 3.03. Allow me some time to publish the recordings, an hour or so, and I'm going to go publish it everywhere in online school and in your course. Thank you so much for joining. If you have further questions, feel free to email me, text me, and I will help you out. And Ramin, I'm very happy to hear that. We'll see one another on Monday.